so happy and I'm so grateful. Not just to the people, the friends, the family. I love them all. Most importantly, I am so grateful to God because I'm not a fighter, but I could pay people. Take it away, Mom.
She's a mess. She's a mess. She's a mess.
Welcome to the Leslie T. Marshall Experience. We thank you so much for joining us here today, where we believe there's healing and exposure, and we talk to everyday people, real life stories, and real life situations. And today we have with us Mr. Winston Faison. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, most definitely, sir. So Mr. Faison is a man of many hats. He's more than Mr. Faison. He is Inspector Faison, and he's also the founder of, you can see him wearing it here, Aviation4us, where he takes hundreds of our children up and teaches them how to fly, a little scary, a plane or a helicopter, whatever it may be. So, sir, let's start off with that. Tell us about Aviation4us and how you got started there, please.
All right, so as a young kid growing up in East New York, Brooklyn,
yes.
And I represent Brooklyn, East New York.
Brooklyn.
We are in Brooklyn, East New York.
Yes, we are.
So I always was interested in aviation. Like,
Yes.
I always looked up and said, wow, airplanes flying. It was always a fascination.
Okay.
It's not until I was 23 before I even stepped foot on a plane.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was my mother, 7 of us, we never flew. So first time I was on a plane, I was 23 years old, commercial plane.
Okay.
But I always wanted to learn how to, fly the plane.
Right.
So, as I'm working at NYPD, when you have a passion for something,
mm-hmm.
You will attract what you love.
Right.
So everybody started coming to me saying, oh, I fly, oh, I did this. And it just kept coming to me.
Right.
And I said, you know what, let me just take a flight. I took a flight one time with a friend of mine. He was a certified flight instructor.
Yes.
We went to Long Island. I fell in love with it. And first I was just doing it like for, general aviation for fun, just for myself.
Right.
But when you love something, you want to share it, right?
Absolutely.
So I said, instead of just getting my private pilot certificate, I might as well go on and get my instrument, my commercial, and then become a certified flight instructor.
Right.
That way I can go back to Brooklyn, East New York, and teach the kids the information that I learned.
Nice.
So in 2019, Aviation4us was born. We started doing classes at 127 Pennsylvania Avenue, the NYPD Community Center.
The OPAL.
OPAL,
Okay.
the new NYPD Community Center.
Okay, go ahead.
And since then, we had over 300 kids who went through the program.
Right.
And they all had an opportunity to fly a plane.
I love it. And that's so needed in this generation. So back in 2023, I think I was turning 50. And I took a little opportunity and put my fare aside, which maybe our camera people will hook it up on the camera later. But I was so scared to go up there. So do you sense, you took me up there and it was a great experience. I don't know if I'm ever going to go back up there. But I see when I'm watching your videos and I see that you just carefree. You just do it so naturally. Like, it's like you have a love, a passion, and I see it. Like it could be 7, 8 in the morning. You're like, I'm out here waiting for my students. Like, you love it. Like, it's not like, oh God, here we go again. So I heard you say that you found out you was about 23, but what was it exactly like? Were you just sitting up one day and say, I want to go on a plane, or it was in the plane? Like, when did you get that feeling like, no, this is it? I may be in the NYPD. I may have worked for this place and that place, but I know this is what I want to do. When did that hit you?
So I always wanted to learn to fly. Mm-hmm. Aviation is an expensive habit.
Right.
And most people don't get into the aviation field because financially it's blocked.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
It's not like it's really difficult to learn how to fly. Mm-hmm. Anybody can do it. It don't take much.
Right.
It just takes a lot of money.
Right.
So when I was financially able to, that's when I did it. So I always wanted to do it. But when I was financially able to do it, that's when I got into aviation.
So you knew this was coming, even
Yes.
though you had taken other steps, because I think you used to work for 2 different precincts before.
Yes.
Okay.
I was a commanding officer. Well, I worked all over the city.
Okay.
But I was a commanding officer of the 81st precinct
Right.
and the 61st precinct.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. And how was that?
Oh, that's dope. Listen, when they entrust you to run the whole precinct.
Yes.
That's the whole neighborhood. So you affect everything in that neighborhood.
Nice.
You know, the decisions you make actually change lives in that neighborhood.
I love it.
So it's a huge responsibility. And that's probably one of my proudest moments, one of them in the police department, is being assigned to commanding officer of my first command in 61st Precinct.
I love it. So I heard you say you rep in Brooklyn, East New York. I grew up in Brooklyn, East New York. So same area code. So I'm like, okay. So honestly, when I first was coming to hook you up and do this interview, I said, boy, this man's going to have me driving 2 or 3 hours away. And then to find out you were still in your neighborhood. So that just tells the type of person that you didn't have to go far just to prove I've reached a certain level of success. So I have to take us back to when you were young. How many siblings did you have?
It was 7 of us. So, 4 boys, 5 boys, 2 girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you grew up with both your parents?
1.
Okay.
So my father left the house when I was probably around 3rd grade.
Okay.
But my mother raised all of us.
And how was that for you growing up? What number of in line do you fall?
I'm number 3.
Okay.
So I saw with 2 parents and without.
Okay.
And the difference.
Okay.
Okay. In life, you need a balance.
Definitely.
So it's so important to have a male figure in the house. But everybody has the same story.
Everybody.
And
but
you work through it.
Some people
and
work
you
through
learn
it.
from it.
Some people learn through it because, like you said, and now you're working with youth,
Yep.
and so I hate that you experienced that, but experiencing that, it helps you on your job, choices that you had to make before you even got here, when you first started. I work for the police department as well. I didn't go as far as you went up there, but it's a lot of daily choices that you have to make. And I believe that those choices of us, growing up in the situations that we grew up, not like you said, everybody has a story. It helps us to balance the choices. Like we don't just make choices out of this is what the rule book says, but I have to make this choice because of, what's inside of your heart. So did you ever were you always on the straight and narrow, or were you ever on the other side of the fence before you got up here? And, into
Grew up in Brooklyn, East New York.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
Everybody went through phases in their life where they, listen, I'm lucky to be here.
Okay.
I'm lucky to be here. And it's been a lot of times where it was like, wow, I'm surprised I made it through that.
Yes. Yes.
A lot of times. But, and growing up in East New York and living in East New York and working in this neighborhood, the 5 boroughs, you have empathy.
Yes.
And you can see a kid, and that kid reminds you of yourself.
Exactly.
Or your niece or your
Exactly.
nephew. So
Exactly.
you understand what they're going through, and the culture, you can relate.
Definitely. Definitely. And the friends that you grew up with back in the days, are you still friends with any of those people? Do you see any of those people?
Yeah. So, listen, I went to Thomas Jefferson High School.
Oh, you went to Jeff. Okay.
I went to the same neighborhood I'm at now.
Okay.
I grew up in this neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
So I see the same people. A lot of people moved out, but yeah, I'm still cool with the same people. And even if they took a different route, it doesn't change.
I love it. That's a great thing to hear. So are you very close with your siblings? Have you all taken different courses, or is anybody else in the police department?
So 2 of my sisters are on the police department.
Nice.
They both detectives.
Okay, great.
One works in the mayor's office.
Okay.
And one works for missing persons.
I love it. Okay.
Yep. And then my other brothers do their own thing.
Okay, nice.
But the 2 girls follow me.
Okay, so we can't just skip over this. We're actually sitting in history right now as I'm thinking about it, because you are the first, correct me if I'm wrong, African-American assigned to the Aviation Union. You're the CEO of the Aviation Union, which means you're the commanding officer. And as I'm told, there's nowhere else in the United States that somebody holds that position. So I'm sitting next to a legend, so to say.
Police department, yeah, aviation. Yeah, I'm the first.
You are the first?
Yes.
Okay, so tell people what does a day look like for you being the commanding officer over the aviation unit?
Well, aviation unit, first, we have a lot of assets I'm responsible for.
Okay.
You're looking like $100 million worth of equipment that I'm responsible for.
Okay.
We have 4 helicopters, 2 planes. A plane, 2. We have a lot of equipment.
Okay.
Each helicopter is probably worth, the patrol helicopter is probably worth $13 million a piece. And that's not even our air sea helicopter. So, and it's a small unit, probably about 60, but the qualifications to get in is really high.
Okay.
So you just can't come in with nothing and get in a unit. When you come into this unit, you got to have your commercial fixed wing or your private rotary before you come in.
Okay.
So small group of people who can get into the unit. But it's a good unit. We the eyes in the sky. We take over the Coast Guard duties because we have ASC Rescue. We work in collaboration with Scuba. Jump in the water, save people, and
They jump out of your planes. You don't jump
helicopters. Not me.
Oh, okay.
No.
I was gonna say.
But yeah, so it's a, the position, just holding a position means a lot.
Definitely.
Outside of NYPD.
Yes, of course.
So just having a position is big. For the kids that I'm teaching, the kids in the neighborhood, and cops coming up in the NYPD.
Definitely.
Now they say they can get into positions like that because SOD was really a lot of SOD in that Special Operations Division.
Yes.
A limited amount of people of color.
So you kicked down the door.
You have to.
You kicked down the door. I love it, and you opened it up. So I was watching one of your reels, one of your videos, a little nosy. I was creeping, looking at the page, and I saw on July 17, 2023, you were listening. Well, you used for your reel that Kirk Franklin song, "Imagine Me." You know that song, "Imagine Me." You didn't put the whole song, but if you know the song, you know what it means. And it was a little touch. I was like, oh, that is so kind. It just touched my heart. And then I saw you pan the area and so imagine this young man from Brooklyn, East New York, if you would, and just now look what you're in charge of. Look what God has put it in your hands. You worked hard. You got it. You worked hard. So, did you have anybody praying for you growing up, or were you introduced? Did you used to pray for this, or just it's strictly work? What do you give thanks to beside your hard work for getting into this position?
Thanks to?
Yeah, what is do you pray? Do you give honor to a higher power?
Well,
including your hard
it's
work?
always a higher power.
Okay.
I like to pray within because I think we have the power to do a lot of things.
Yes.
And whatever you want to do,
yes,
whatever you want to be, is easy to do if you believe in it.
Right.
If you believe it, it's already done.
Right.
Thoughts are things.
Right.
And I tell my son all the time, if you think it, it is. If you believe it, it is. So just stay focused, and it's always a struggle to get to where you want to get to.
Yeah.
Those are life lessons. But if you just stay focused and keep treading, you're going to get to where you want to go.
Do you ever wake up some mornings and go, wow, I can't believe I'm here. I finally made it. You open your eyes, you're like, is this real? Because you just moved up in 2023 is when you...
I took the position in 23.
You took, when it was offered to you, was it something you were seeking or they came after you?
No, it was something I was seeking. Actually, I wanted this position probably 3 years before.
Wow.
So, and eventually, Chief Manager, Mayor, they recognize what I do and they put me in that spot.
And it's nice. It's always nice to be recognized. Not that you're doing it for that, but if you have what it takes and you're qualified, why not?
Yes.
So I know you have 2 sons, 2 boys. How is that being a father to your sons? And just, of course, we know, and I know everybody has the same story, but everybody's story has something unique to it. Not having your dad around, did that make you push more to want to be a better father? Did it come naturally? Something you do easy or something you work at, especially with the generation that we have today?
I think it's natural. I don't think it had anything with my dad not being around. It's just, you have a son, you love your son. It's natural, Yeah, it's natural. Actually, he's here now. He should be a part of this.
Hey, you should. He should be. You should have. You should. He's always welcome. We love children. So now you have a team. I believe. Does a team help you? Because I remember when I came out to Aviation for Us. Were we in Long Island?
Yeah,
I
so
don't even
when
know
you
where I
came
was.
out to
Yes.
the airport, that was
Yes.
in Long Island.
That was in Long Island, okay.
But I teach it in Brooklyn at 127 Penn.
Okay.
And I do have people help me out. So when you came out, we had Detective Boone, who was, she was instrumental in helping out.
Yes.
She's actually on maternity leave now.
Okay.
So now I got Sergeant Holmes helping me out.
Okay.
And then, of course, you have to get someone else, because I got to pass the torch,
Exactly.
I'm 50 years
Eventually.
old. So I got a young man now. He's getting his commercial pilot certificate too.
Nice.
So he's going to be teaching the course, and eventually he could take over and teach the course.
Nice. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a very busy man. You have a lot of things going on. Like you said, you're going to have to pass the torch. And there has to be a time that I know you love what you do, Inspector. But what do you do, like, when you need to take off? Is there somebody else that covers when you're not there, or you just...
Take off what?
Of work. Like, you can't...
Take off? What do you mean take off?
Take off. Like,
No,
you have
no.
things that you have to do.
No.
You don't take off.
Well, I'm always working. That's why they give you a phone in the car. So they always get in contact with me. But if you're the commanding officer, and if you're talking about NYPD, if you're
Yes.
the commanding officer of a unit, you're in charge of that unit no matter what. Even if you're not there, you're in charge. So you're never off. So if you have to be there,
Yeah.
then you're not a good commanding officer.
Okay.
That
So
unit
that's
should-
very important.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Inspector, what is it that you do for fun? What do you do for fun? Where do you like to travel? What do you like to go? Because you have a lot under your hand. You have a lot that you're in control of. What do you do to breathe, to woosah?
Fly. No, seriously. My fun is flying and teaching kids. I hang out with my son all the time.
Right.
We go on trips. If we're going to go someplace, Florida, wherever you want to go, we can
Right.
do that.
Right.
Fun, I hang out, watch TV. I don't play games.
Right.
But I think most of my time is, and you can ask my girl, she's like, everything is flying to you.
Yeah.
That's just what I do. But I think most of my time is allocated to flying.
Okay.
I'm working 5 days a week, and then on Saturday and Sundays, if the weather is right, I'm going up flying.
Okay. And so and I heard you say your girl. So how is she with flying? She loves it. She likes it.
She don't
Just
mind
supports,
going
she
up.
don't mind?
She don't mind going up. Well, she supports it.
Very nice.
If I'm happy,
Yeah.
listen, I can't make her happy if I'm not happy.
Hello. That's
Right?
true. That's very true.
So-
So that goes to one of my next questions I ask all my guests. So are you a relationship guy or are you a dating guy?
Relationship or dating?
Right,
Tell me the difference
'cause
between a relationship and dating.
A
before I jump in
relationship is kind of like long term, and dating is like I don't want to say a serial dater, but somebody that's just
I'm a relationship.
you'd rather be in a relationship.
I am in a relationship.
Okay,
I've
I love
been in a
it.
relationship
That's
a long
very
time,
good.
Yeah.
All your life you've always been that way. Is that something you matured to?
I went through different phases. But
Phases of Faison.
Yeah, but I'm a relationship guy. For the most part, I'm in a
Excellent.
relationship.
No, that's
yeah.
good. There's no right or wrong answer.
No, but yeah,
There's
that's
no
what it is.
right or wrong answer. You're just being you. So growing up in East New York, there's another question I like to ask all my guests. It depends on where you come from. I don't ask everybody this, but I'm going to ask you. Were you a bully or did you get bullied?
No, I wasn't a bully, and I didn't get bullied. I was the one telling people, don't bully this person.
Okay.
Listen, I had two older brothers. I went to Jeff, and people knew me and Jeff, so I never got bullied. But I was the guy, if I see the group of guys, leave him alone, he's with me.
When did you go to Jeff? Was that like about 89, 90? What?
Yes, I graduated in 91.
Okay.
So, yep.
Oh, wow. We probably know some of the same people. So did you come straight out of high school to the police department, or did you have some other jobs and then you just landed? How did you, get to the police department? Sometimes I'm telling people that it's a great opportunity because you just don't have to do, of course, everybody has to work the beat when you first come out. But then after that, there's so many things you could go. Aviation, there's just forensics, there's so many other places. But people just think, I don't want to be a police officer. I don't want to stand on the street. What is it? What was the job that you had before you came here, or some of the jobs you
So
had?
when I graduated high school, I went to college. I went to Hofstra. I was there for 2 years.
Okay.
Didn't finish. Came back, and my passion was I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
right? So I worked in the Board of Ed. At the time, it was the Board of Education. I was a paraprofessional
Okay.
for about 4 years as I was going to school.
Right.
Loved it, and I was going to be a teacher. And then one day I said, you know what? Teachers top pay. No, I'm serious. I was doing
You're
the
right.
numbers, and you should never get a job for the numbers. Do it because you love it.
That's
but
true.
I did the numbers, and I was like, you know what? In order to get top pay for a teacher, you got to have 60 credits above your master's for top pay. And I knew a girl who was working at the time. She was assistant principal, and she was making about 102. And I said, you know what? For a cop,
Yeah.
you can, if you got your bachelor's, you can take your test all the way up to captain, and they making like 140, 150. And I say, you know what? I'm a good test taker. I'm going to be a captain. And I made the decision to go to the police department.
And that was then.
And that was then.
And that was then.
And when
that
I was
a
in the
while
academy,
back.
I was telling people, I'm going to be a captain. And they used to laugh. I'm telling you, at minimum, a captain.
Well, I like to interview people with a story. Like, everybody's story is not going to be the bottom of the barrel. Everybody's story is not going to be the top. But what I find fascinating about you and your role and your job is that not just that you give back, but I love the fact that you've just branched out. You came on the job, and I've seen many people in some of the positions that you had, and they might become an officer. Maybe that's good enough for them. They just stay there. But you have that drive inside of you, and of course, you're putting that drive inside of our teens. Do you also take adults up on a regular, or is it just you focus Aviation4us Academy only focuses on the youth?
So the Aviation4us Academy that I do, the nonprofit part, is just for the youth.
Okay.
But I do train adults.
Okay.
I do teach adults. And we do go up on flights with adults or discovery flights. A lot of people will come and go, listen, it's my girlfriend's birthday.
Nice.
I want to treat her to a flight. And
Nice.
they'll go to the airport and we'll take them up on a flight.
Wow. What does something like that run? If somebody wanted to go up on a flight and take somebody they love, somebody they care for, how much is that?
It's $275.
Okay.
And
How
it's
long
like
is that ride?
Hour flight.
Okay.
You get an opportunity to fly.
Nice.
I think everybody should do it at least once, like fly.
Okay. Well, I know a lot of people. I saw you had something on your desk one time, says the fixer of everything. I told you I did my homework now, sir. Fixer of everything. Where did that come from?
Actually,
what's that about?
One of my coworkers bought that for me. Mm-hmm. He was like, you know what? I play around a lot, and I go, I'm the aviation guard in here.
Okay. Okay.
So he saw it. He was like, let me give you this. So, I am the fixer of everything. There is no dilemma or problem that we cannot fix.
I hear that. So I had a joke because I wanted to know, when you took me up, did you know I was a little scared?
Yeah.
Just wanted to know. I said, I wonder if this man knows I'm about to lose it. I'm like, Lord, I cannot even breathe right now. When you like, oh, you got this. I'm like, I'm about to. I didn't breathe that whole time I was
really?
up there. No, even when I watch the video, it makes me hold my breath. So, is there anything? I know you love your job. I know you have a passion for it. Is there anything that you wish you knew earlier, not about your job, not about just in life in general, that somebody, like I have a book, it's called If I Knew Then. You know how we look back and we say, if somebody would have told me, my 18-year-old self, this, or what would that have been, if anything, sir?
Wow. I tell my son all the time, I say, when I tell you things,
Right.
I want you to take it as if your future is coming back to tell you what to do and believe it. Because I'm telling you this because I know something that you don't know. Now, so when you say, if I knew something earlier, if I believed in myself like I believe in myself earlier,
I love it.
I would have been unstoppable.
I love it.
Just the belief of anything is possible.
I love it.
And sometimes it takes time to get that. But if I would have got it quicker.
I love it. Do you cook?
No.
You don't cook. You eat. You know what? Well, that's
no, I
honest.
do not cook.
Do you eat out a lot?
I eat out too much.
Eat out too much. You go to the gym?
Not no more. I used to be a big gym guy, but dieting, eating right is more beneficial than working out. Diet is like 85, 90% of it. And then working out is the other part.
You watch movies, you like to relax, you like to go to the movies, or you a guy rather stay home and watch movies at home?
At home, because when I go to the movies, I feel trapped.
No, I get what you're saying. And I know you always know where your exits are. Is that right?
I don't want to feel like I'm stuck someplace for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But I'm not a movie guy.
Not at all.
No.
Would you consider yourself, I have my own opinion, but I think I know what you're going to say. Do you consider yourself an introvert, extrovert? What do you think?
Depending on who I'm around. I don't speak just to speak. Listening is more important than speaking. So I just don't speak just to speak. So
I've observed that. I've been in a few rooms with you, and I've observed that you're going to speak to people. You're going to make people feel good. You're going to shake the hands. You're going to take the pictures, but you're in and you out. You don't have to.
Unnecessary conversation is unnecessary.
Yeah. No,
that makes sense.
I agree 100. I agree 100%. I just observe some of the people sometimes that you that you rub. So you're in a position to do that. So you have to rub shoulders with certain people. But I like when I see you in the room, even if when the photographers are there, you're not like one of those pushy people, like pushing yourself in. Yeah. You just want to, do what you have to do, and you're in and you're out. So I appreciate that about you. So I seen you. I know you said you believe in a higher power. I've seen you at service sometimes, once in a while. When you have to be there. And I've seen you. I've seen you with some high wigs, they'll call them. I've seen you with them, but I've never seen you act like like I belong here and I'm supposed to be here. And sometimes people, when they get the various awards, when I'm sure our cameraman, Mr. Barron, will get later, you have a lot of awards. And I think I saw you got like 2 or 3 last year. You got Man of the, did you get Man of the Year? You got some big award.
Yeah, a few awards. Man of the Year, Community Service Partner.
Yeah.
A few awards.
I said that was a good year for you. You was just cleaning up. You're not leaving room for anything. You trying to take everything off the table?
Oh, well, listen, what can I say? I just do it because I enjoy doing it, and then you get rewarded for what you do.
And I love it. I love it.
And Rakim got a saying. He said, something about light. I don't need the light. I'm already shining, or something like that. And when you try to jump in the spotlight all the time, you actually dim yourself. You don't need to. So if you're gonna shine, you're gonna shine. So you'll never see me saying, "Please take a picture of me," or "Let me say something." I don't do it for that.
I tell you, one time I was at an event at Mega Evers. I think it was the AECE one of those days, and I think I saw you. Somebody came and stood next to you because they knew that the camera was on you. You didn't even know the camera was on you. It was last year, and the person was kind of like in the spotlight for a lot of trouble. They've been doing some silly stuff in the community. And they came and stood right next to you, and you didn't know it, but they had their head over their shoulder because people was taking your pictures. And then somebody else of some notoriety, they noticed, and they came and they got you, and they gave you a seat up front. But it was so funny to watch. But people attach themselves to you sometimes, not because of your heart, or not you, but people in general. Mm-hmm. How do you handle, like, I know that we don't ever want to say, well, we don't have any haters, but there's always going to be somebody that's hating on you. Have you had to face that in your career, and how have you handled that if you knew that you have somebody and this person does not really like me, but they're just around? Like, how do you handle those type of people?
So the people around you, if you have people around you, you have to give them access to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody can just be around you, just take advantage of who you are.
Right.
So my circle is small. You don't see me around. If somebody say, who is Inspector Faison attached to? Who is their core group? Right. They would say, I don't know. He's just by himself and do his own thing. I don't attach myself to other people to try to, shake the hand and say I'm really friendly with this guy.
Right.
If you're friends, we're friends.
Right.
I don't care who you are. I don't care what rank you are, what level you are. If there's 2 tables and one is a bunch of chiefs and one are cops, if I feel more comfortable with the cops,
I love it.
I'm going to be sitting with the cops.
Right.
Rank don't mean anything.
Right.
It's all fake.
Mm-hmm. Because I believe you
all
are who
fake.
you are in and out of your uniform.
Yes.
You are who you are. Some people are only, and I'm not saying that, I'm saying because I work for the department as well. I know that, and it's any job. It's not just the police department, but of course it's a proud thing to work for the NYPD. But I know that there's some people like that's the only identity that they have. And that's why when I started out, I didn't say inspector. I mean, you used to be a deputy inspector. I didn't start with titles because what draws me to people is their heart. And I see that you still have a heart. And I just don't say it because I'm from East New York, Brooklyn, but I know there's a genuineness that people, when you start from a certain place, you said it earlier, you have empathy and you can show concern, whereas is, way in the beginning of your career, is this a person I need to have a conversation with? Is this a person I need to go ahead and, put the bracelets on them tonight? So that's a wonderful thing for you. So are your sons thinking of taking the same direction as you, or
No.
not at all?
Not at all.
How do they feel
Not at all.
about flying?
First of all, my oldest son, I should call him down here. I'm so disappointed because he don't want anything to do with aviation.
Really?
Yeah, it bothers me. I don't force
As
him.
much as you love it, because that's your passion.
Yeah. I don't force him, but no, he's not in the aviation world. I told him whatever he find and whatever he loved to do, that's what I want him to do.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
My youngest son is he's only 10, so I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
So between the two of them, who goes up more? Who will go up with you?
My youngest son will go up with me. My oldest son will not get on the plane.
At all?
Well,
Just to
I
travel.
forced him on twice.
Okay.
Small planes.
Oh, okay.
If we're taking commercial, he don't have a problem.
Yeah.
But if we're flying in my 4-seater single engine plane, he don't want any parts.
Well, listen, I'm not mad at him because I feel the same way when I was on that little plane. I'm like, all right. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, growing up, who was if this doesn't get you in trouble, because sometimes people get offended when they see people's story, but growing up when you were young, who was the person you were closest to in your family? Like, was it your grandmother, your uncle, your aunt? Who was like they say it takes a village. Who was your person?
Well, I was my grandmother's favorite grandchild. And I don't say that, it's just what it is. Winston, come around.
Uh-oh. Come on in here, Winston. Now you're going to have to talk to Winston because Winston's going to say, I don't know. But tell me about your grandmother.
I was my grandmother's favorite grandchild. So, she always gave me extra or always.
Sounds familiar. Go ahead. I'm not going to say it.
When it comes to my siblings, I think my mother evenly loved everybody.
That's nice. That's nice. And you were number what? 3?
Number three.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. I was my grandmother's favorite. I got to stop saying it because people think I'm taking shots, but I don't.
It's true. It's true.
And I should. This is what I should say because she's not here to speak for herself. She was my favorite. That's what I should say, because that was just a safe space for me, a good place, a safe space, a place where somebody just made me feel good and they valued me and they saw me and I mattered and I counted. So I know that you're normally a happy person. Every time I see you, you smile and you seem to be in a good mood. You're a person that people can call on and they can depend on you to come through with what you say you're going to do. Now, how do you handle a day that's tough? Like, I know you're a smiley type of guy. You're happy-go-lucky. You don't walk around stressful, spreading but those tough days when you have to, say it's at work and you have to enforce something that's kind of hard. How is that for you? Like somebody under you have to reprimand or you have to write up, or how is that?
You justify it in your head. When people deserve things, they deserve it. So if I got to give anybody any reprimands, it's not I'm giving it to you. You did something and you deserve it. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. So if you stay on that course, listen, it's not personal. If this is right, that's what I'm going to go with. If this is wrong, this is what I'm going to go with it. And that's it. And I say I'm consistent with that.
Right.
I'm consistently like, right is right, wrong is wrong. And you get treated accordingly. I don't have the, that theory, everybody get treated the same. I don't do that. You get treated accordingly. Different people get treated differently depending on how they act. So I treat people accordingly and fair and accordingly.
I love it. I saw one day, I think the young lady's name was Sasha, and she was taking a flight, a young
Okay.
girl, and you put on her flight. You said some days you wonder if it's worth it, and then what do you do on the days? And I know it's not many days that you feel you wonder if it's worth it.
Is it worth it? You mean taking people
Yeah, like
flying?
I don't think it was her. You just was giving an example, and you said some days when you wonder if it's worth it.
Oh, yeah, you get some challenging days. Like, you
Yeah.
know, if I'm at the airport at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
meaning sometimes I tell my students, listen, my first flight started at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You got to be in Long Island at 6 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, sometimes you get backlash in certain places, and it's always going to be trying times. And sometimes be like, is it worth it? Like, I'll give you an example. My
Okay.
class is about to start tomorrow.
Okay.
Monday. Monday is the
Okay.
first class.
For the year?
For the year.
Okay.
So when I do these classes, I do it on my own time. It's not NYPD. I check out and I'm doing it on my own time just to do it, just to give back.
Right.
Now, you know, Floyd Benefield, Aviation is at Floyd Benefield.
Right.
So now I got to clock out, drive all the way back here to 127 Penn, do the class. The class is from 4:30 to 6, and then I'm back here. Sometimes I got to take lost time just to do it. So it's taking a lot away.
Definitely.
Even for my son. So, you know, I got to tell my son, you know, it's taking some time away from them also. So sometimes you got to go, is it worth it? And then sometimes you have flights like with Sasha, or a parent would come and tell you how you changed somebody's life, and then you'd be like, wow, it was worth it.
I saw the videos. I saw a video where somebody was asking you for a letter of recommendation, and then you were writing back to them, and they were just telling you thank you for everything. They appreciate you, and they said, I thank you for the next flight. I think you said, I won't wear my Crocs or something like that. Or he said,
Yeah, I have a big problem with guys wearing Crocs. That's my pet peeve.
it's the comfort in the plane or just anywhere.
Period. Men should not wear Crocs.
Hey, you never know what somebody said. You never know.
Unless you work in a hospital, I might give you a pass. But men should not wear Crocs. So one of the students came to my plane with Crocs on, and he almost didn't fly.
What's your favorite trip you've ever taken?
Favorite trip?
Outside of aviation. For us, outside of the NYPD.
So you got to think about, is it the favorite trip or the favorite time, or is the location?
The favorite time and location. Where were you?
then you gotta get
Not the
both.
trip in the air, because I can already imagine when you're flying,
No,
you're just
no.
working while you're flying. You should be relaxing on that plane, waiting for your destination. You're probably like, okay, he's probably at 175. Okay, he's probably at 135.
No, what I mean is, you can go to Jersey with the right person and have the best time.
Yes.
And you can go to Hawaii with the wrong person and have the worst time. But Hawaii is a better place to go.
Yes.
So my
Definitely.
favorite trip, the most fun I had on a trip, my son just walked in, I can't talk about it.
Oh, come on in, son. We want you to say a quick cameo. We want you to come in and say hello. How are you? It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I'm Miss Leslie. I've heard a lot of great things about
Sit
you.
down for a second.
Uh-oh, you're fine. What is that? You going to interview him? You want me to leave so you can
sit down,
interview
sit
him?
down, sit down.
How old are you, sir?
16.
I've heard a lot of great things about you. I can't ask you anything about flying. Do you like to fly?
That's cool. I don't fly though.
You don't want to fly? You don't like to? You don't want to just take the plane by the handles and do what you got to do?
I did it a couple times. But
How did it feel?
the first time was good because I was with my father, but
Yeah.
other times it's just,
You got some nice white teeth.
thank you.
Keep it up. Looking good. So let me ask you this. What's your favorite thing to do?
I play basketball.
You play basketball. Okay, I love it. What position you play?
I play all positions.
All positions. Okay, so you're really valuable to your school. What grade you in?
I'm
11th. Okay. I'm not going to ask you what school you go to.
No,
Not
don't
on
answer.
camera. What school you go to?
Simon Jefferson.
Oh, Lord, you really keeping it. Your father's so
representing.
proud. I think my mother, my brother, my aunts my cousins went to Jeff. Okay, I love it. So what do you think you're going to do? I think I might know the answer, but what is it you plan on doing when you get older, when you grow up?
Just something to do with basketball.
Okay, so I got to tell you what I always tell my students. I know you don't want to hear it because I work in a school. I'm a dean at a middle school, high school, and I tell my kids all the time, I love it. I want that for you, but if that doesn't happen, because you could always work, you could do other things around basketball if you're not on the court. If it's not basketball, what's the second thing that might be something you might like to do? What do you have a love for? Or it's just straight basketball?
Right now it's basketball, but like I could be like an entertainer. I don't know.
Okay, all right. I love it.
But,
Uh-oh, step in, Father.
all right, you can get up now.
I kicked you out. It was thank you for stopping by the Leslie T. Marshall Experience, sir.
Well, I tell my son, there is no backup plan.
Okay.
Because if you have a backup plan,
That means
you're gonna utilize that backup
to fall
plan.
on.
No, if you want to do basketball, then it's just that.
That's
You gotta
it.
live it, eat it, drink it, sleep it. You should have a basketball in your hand all the time. You don't have. You should have a basketball in your hand right now. Seriously, you gotta eat it, sleep it, drink it.
Fathers never stay off of you. Fathers stay on you. That's how they show their love. Mothers too. So,
True, man.
but you're blessed. You're blessed. You have your dad. Everybody doesn't have that. So you got to consider yourself blessed. Because a lot of kids growing up your age, I deal with a lot of kids every day. They don't get I love you from a father. They never had a trip with a father. But I'm sure you know that. I only preaching to the choir. So good job on being a great father. So we're not going to be here much longer. We're going to get out so you guys could continue to enjoy your Saturday. Mr. Faison, what are some things that if you were not in a relationship, I ask all my guests this because love and relationships is my favorite subject. What is some of the qualities you look for in a woman?
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, look at your son. He's like, I'm hanging around for this conversation. What you should learn.
No, the qualities, attractiveness is important, right? But they have to cook and clean is good. They not cook. They should be clean, keep their house clean. But most importantly, they have to respect you. And respect is big. So they have to understand their roles. You know, I'm the king of the castle and she's the queen of the castle. And we have different roles we play. And we won't interchange those roles.
So did you ever have to date someone that you met and you had to teach them that? Or did you say, I don't have the time, I'm not teaching anybody anything, you should already know it by this age?
Yeah, I don't have the time. It's not my job to teach you that.
Have you ever had your heart broken?
Heartbroken. When my son didn't want to fly, he broke my heart.
Cheap shots fired. Son, if you want to give a response, I would not even be mad at you. You could do it off camera. Come back for
A
him.
girl?
Yeah, has a lady
Of
ever
course,
broke your
girls always
heart?
break your hearts. Always. They supposed to. That's how you learn. You learn from heartbreak. It'll make you better next time.
I love it. So, Mr. Faison, you're obviously a successful man, but if you could think back and you had sometime in your life, well, we want our kids to think, our kids just assume that we did everything perfect and we did everything right, which I'm sure you have an open relationship with your son. But did you ever have a failure, something that happened that you failed at and it ended up being something that you learned from that you could remember?
Absolutely. First of all, I had many. We don't say failures, we say life lessons.
Okay.
Many. You have to fail it. When I was at the center, I used to tell my cops, I want you to try and fail at least 2 things a week. We got to get comfortable with not succeeding the first time.
That's
A
right.
lot of times we don't make moves because we're afraid to fail.
Right.
So if you get comfortable with failing, then you're going to win. So yeah, many times I failed in everything. I failed in aviation the first time. I failed at everything I did. I failed at one point, but it made me better. So it was life lessons. You
I love it. And that's good for people to hear and that's what I mean on the Leslie T. Marshall Experience when I say there is healing and exposure, because somebody might drive by you. Somebody might see you. Somebody might say, oh, he owns this Aviation4us company. Life has been easy for him. And they don't have an idea that you had to keep pushing. You had to keep going. It wasn't easy. And I think that's something that people need to hear. So I'm really excited. You've already had 300 young people in the sky, plus us older folks. How many people this year you think you're going to do, or how many classes you have planned?
Excuse me. So we do 1 class a season. So 4 seasons,
Okay.
20 each season. Each class. So hopefully 80.
What
a
is your
little bit more.
graduation rate?
Oh, everybody goes through. Because we don't fail out of aviation for us.
Nice.
So everybody.
So I don't so much mean aviation, but what if the child is afraid or they back up or they say, I thought this was for me, or y'all do like something in the beginning to make sure that this is what they want to do?
Yeah, so it's a limited amount of space.
Okay.
And so we make sure we choose the students that really want to do it. Especially my time is very important.
Right.
And I tell them in the beginning. I even tell the parents. A lot of times it's the parents and not the kids who want to do it. And if that's the case, it's not a good fit. So if I'm going to volunteer my time and go out there and do all of this work, I want to make sure I have the students that's engaged and want to do it. They might, if they're afraid, that's fine. But once you learn how a plane fly, what's the aerodynamics of the plane, you get a little bit more comfortable, Go through EPs, emergency procedures, you get comfortable with the plane.
I love it. So, Mr. Faison, I know you have a lot of years with the NYPD, so there might be, because then again, I know when people think they're young, they stay on a job another 10 or 20 years. You plan on putting another 10 or 20 years in?
I used to give numbers. Now I just say, when it's time, it's time. You just never know.
Okay, so in front of your son, in front of Aaron, our cameraman, in front of God, right here in your home, I'm going to say, can I just get a ticket to that retirement party? Because I know that's going to be but I know Priscilla, I'll keep in touch. Priscilla will get me in there somehow. I know that's going to be big.
No, when I retire, nobody's going to know.
Are you serious?
Yep, I'm just going to walk out.
You're sneaking out.
I'm just going to walk out.
Because you don't want to walk out.
What happened to Inspector Faison? Gone.
You don't want to walk out?
Nope.
Come on, you deserve a walkout.
Nope, I'm just going to...
You're not going to let that happen, are you? Going to... he deserves a walkout, doesn't it? That's what I'm saying. All that you've done for the department. Sir, you're too much of a popular man. Every time I go, I say, where's Faison at now? Every time I look, I see you at something else. Well, Mr. Faison, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a privilege for you to allow us to come here and speak with you. We were honored to meet your son. I know he's going places and he's doing things, even if it's not in your footsteps. Having a great dad is everything to a lot of children. So I thank you, because not only are you a dad, a wonderful father to your sons, but you're a wonderful father to all of those children that go up. And I know you touch their parents' life, because, again, when I'm on Facebook, I see the gratitude and the appreciation. And I'm glad that you're, kind enough to admit that. Even though you do a lot of the work, it takes a team and it takes a village. So I just want to thank you for stopping by the Leslie T. Marshall Experience. And I hope this is not the last time. And I thank you so much for having me and always saying yes when I call, because I guess you are the fixer of what? Everything. We thank you so much for joining us today on the Leslie T. Marshall Experience, where we always believe there is healing in exposure, and we always want to step and stop and talk to wonderful people. And if you have a story that you would like to share and you think it will inspire others, please, we'd love to hear from you. Have a fantastic day, and thank you.
I'm Inspector Faison, and I'm hanging out with Leslie T. Marshall on the Leslie T. Marshall Experience.